Hey fifth graders, today we're going to start a project that's inspired by graffiti. And before you begin this project, definitely make sure that you check out the slideshow that I created for you in Google Classroom, and it'll walk you through the different types of graffiti and give you a little bit of a background before you begin creating your own. We're going to break this project into two different parts. The part that we're going to focus on today is going to be creating our name in a graffiti style. We're going to focus on the font, we're going to focus on the stylization of the letters, and then next week we will go back in with color and we'll also create a background. So this is going to be a two-part project. Part one starts today. Here we go. To begin creating the letters of your name, you're going to need a white piece of paper and a pencil. If you would like to reference the graffiti alphabets that I've put in for you on Google Classroom while you are working on your letters, you're welcome to do that if you feel like you would like some inspiration. I used this alphabet when I created my example one, but you are more than welcome to create your own font, to make up your own style of writing, kind of like we did when we were doing our illuminated letter project earlier in the school year. Now, to begin, you're going to have to create your name in block lettering. I'm going to show you how that's done. It's very similar, like I mentioned earlier, to what we did when we did our illuminated letter project. What I want you to do is start off by writing your name normally. You can use all caps, you can do lowercase, you can do any kind of style of writing you would like to. I'm just writing my first name normally, nothing fancy. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to turn all of these letters into block letters so that I can add color to them later. The way you do that is you create a shape around your letter. So make sure that you're using your feather lines so that you can thicken up your letters and you're going to be able to erase the center later on. Now that I have added in my letters and I've erased the centers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some style. This is the part where you can get really creative with your lettering. Oh, also, you want to make sure that your letters are attached. Usually when you see graffiti or street art, usually the letters appear to be attached. So if they're attached, that's a good thing. That'll kind of help you along the way. Now, what I can do is I can add different serifs. You might remember the term serifs when we did that illuminated letter project. Maybe you want to kind of create some kind of bubble looking serif to your letters, kind of like what I did for this A. Maybe you'd like to add some kind of style to your letters and you'd like to do something like an arrow. We see arrows a lot in street art. It's kind of a common picture. Maybe you'd like to make something up. Maybe you want to add some kind of curly design. We did a lot of curly designs with our illuminated letter project. It's really up to you how you stylize your letters. You can leave them as is. You can make things up. It looks kind of crazy sometimes if you have like too many different ideas in one, but do your best. And eyes are fun because if you have an eye, you can kind of make the dot over the eye anything you want. Something I'm gonna do to make my lettering a little bit more complex is I'm gonna add a shadow. I'm gonna pick one side of my lettering to be the side where the light is coming from. Like if I want my light coming from, let's say, the right side, my shadow is gonna be in what side? The right or the left? If you said the left side, you got it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add that on. Okay, now that I've added shadows on, maybe I want to add something in the middle as well. Maybe I want it to look like my letters have some kind of highlight on them, like they're balloons. If I want to make my letters look a little more balloon-like, I'm going to add, kind of like when you're drawing an apple and you make a highlight on the apple to represent where the light is hitting it. I'm gonna do that on my letters just to give it some more design. Okay, now that I've added highlights, I've got some stylized design choices happening, I am ready to kind of create a shape around my name. We're gonna be creating a wall background. We'll do that next time, but to kind of make way for it, I want you to kind of create a shape around your name, kind of like a way to highlight your name, to separate it from the wall we'll create later on. You can do that by copying the curve of your letters, kind of like I'm doing, to kind of just highlight around the name. Do you have to do it the way that I'm doing it? No way, of course not. Maybe you want to just make one solid shape and you want to do an oval. Maybe you have a rectangle. It doesn't have to copy the curve of your letters. It can look however you want it to. You're the artist. It's up to you. Now, I'm a fan of adding drips to mine. So it kind of looks like this was done with spray paint or a roller, and the paint is kind of looking drippy. So feel free to add drips if you want to. Do you have to? No way. If you want to keep it geometric looking, you're welcome to do that. If you'd like to add a picture somewhere, you can do that also. Think about when we were learning about Keith Haring. He created pictures. Maybe you have a Keith Haring figure kind of, you know, hanging out, or ooh, maybe he's waving. He's saying, hey, fifth graders, how's it going? So maybe he's like hanging out behind my letters. So feel free to like get really creative with these. You can add characters in. Maybe I have a wing. Wings are a very common theme in street art. It's really up to you what you do as your stylistic choices. You can keep it as simple as this one. You can make it a little bit more complex. You can even make it way more complex than this. I hope you checked out the graffiti slideshow, graffiti and street art slideshow that I created for you on Google Classroom, because that tells you all you need to know about the different styles and categories of graffiti to give you a really good background. Now, if you have time today, if you don't, that's okay. I get it. You can always save stuff for next week. But if you do have time today and you want to lock in your idea, you're happy with it, feel free to outline with a marker or crayon, whatever you have, just so that when we add color next week, you're kind of a step ahead. Okay, now that I've outlined my name and I've erased the pencil lines that we're showing, I am done for today. Yours does not have to look like mine. I want you to create a picture that you're proud of. Take your time on it. Feel free to have fun with this. This is a really creative project. I want you to think about what your images are gonna be. What is your font gonna look like? What are you gonna do to stylize your letters? Yours, again, it can be simple, it can be complicated, it can be big, it can be small. It's up to you. You're the artist. We'll get into color in the background next week. I hope you had a great time.